Alright guys, welcome back to my wave journey. This is episode 2. In the last episode, I was brushing my crown, and that got me thinking. A lot of people don't actually know the difference between a swirl crown and a beehive crown. So today we're breaking it all down. What's the difference between a swirl and a beehive crown? Which one is easier to maintain? Which one is better for elite waves? And most importantly, which one should you choose? If you're serious about getting flawless 360 waves, understanding your crown is one of the most important things. Let's get into it. Before I explain the difference, let's make sure we're all on the same page. Your crown is the center point of your waves. It's where your wave pattern starts. If your crown is off, your entire wave pattern is going to look messy. A weak crown can cause forks, thin spots, and broken connections. A lot of beginners don't even think about their crown, and that's a huge mistake. If you just brush randomly without focusing on it, you'll end up with waves that don't fully connect. So whether you go with a beehive or a swirl, you need to train your crown properly from the start. Let's start with the beehive crown because this is the most common type of crown in 360 waves. With a beehive, you brush your hair outward from a center point, almost like a sunburst. The waves form in circular rings around your crown, creating that classic 360 wave look. A lot of people choose a beehive crown because it's easier to maintain, and brushing outward is just more natural for most people. It also works with most hair textures, whether it's coarse or medium hair waves. You can always train a beehive. And another reason people like it is because it forms faster than a swirl, since most people naturally brush outward. But there are a few downsides. One of the biggest issues with the beehive crown is the bald spot effect. Since you're brushing your hair outward from the center, the middle of the crown can sometimes look thin. Another challenge is that it's harder to fix forks near the crown. If your angles are even slightly off, forks can form and they're not easy to correct. And I'd say the last downside is that beehive crowns are just so common. Now let's talk about the swirl crown, and this one is a little bit less common, but it's gaining popularity. Instead of brushing outward like the beehive, with the swirl crown, you're going to brush in a circular motion. It's going to be following a spiral pattern around your crown. Instead of forming horizontal rings, your waves actually curve into a swirling motion. A lot of people choose swirl crowns because they're just so much more stylish and unique, and a well-trained swirl crown looks crazy clean. Another big benefit is that you're less likely to have a bald spot since you're not brushing your hair away from that center point. The way the waves connect in the swirl also makes them look smoother and more continuous. But a swirl crown takes longer to train, and getting the angles right is harder than with a beehive. It also requires more precision, so you have to be extremely consistent with your brushing angles. And for beginners, it might be more difficult to maintain since it takes more time to form correctly. Now the big question, which crown should you get? If you want something simple, easier to maintain, and works for all hair types, go with a beehive. It's the classic look and forms quicker. If you want a more unique, stylish look and don't mind putting in extra effort, go with a swirl. It requires more patience, but when you get it right, it stands out. No matter which one you choose, the key to locking it in is consistent brushing. Always use a mirror when you're brushing your crown. If you're just guessing, your angles won't be precise. Pay attention to your natural hair growth pattern before you start brushing. Everyone's crown grows slightly different. Usually I use a soft or a medium brush on my crown, especially when the waves were still forming. Make sure you're wearing a do-rag at night. If your crown isn't compressed properly, it won't lay down the way you want it to. And most importantly, stay consistent. If you're not brushing daily, your crown won't train properly. Alright, so that's the full breakdown on swirl versus beehive crowns. If you're new to the wave game, I'd suggest starting with a beehive. But if you're up for the challenge, a swirl crown can take your waves to the next level. Which one do you have? Drop a comment down below and let me know. Also, if you haven't seen episode 1 of my wave journey where I was brushing my swirl crown, go check that out next. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, those waves are not going to train themselves, so I'll be seeing you on the next episode of the wave journey. If they ask you who I am, I'm Waveman Mike, so subscribe, drop a comment, and don't forget to like. Enjoy your day.